Do you ever wonder what foods were all the rave in the 80s? From nostalgic snacks to classic meals, we're exploring the favorite foods of our childhood. If you grew up in the 80s, you'll love this blast from the past. Join us as we dish out the most popular foods that defined a generation. Do you remember the burger with lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise that McDonald's offered as a response to the Whopper? Yeah, I'm talking about the McDLT. The McDLT, also known as the McDeluxe, was a cheeseburger that was served at McDonald's in a styrofoam container that split between the meat, vegetables, and sauce. The tomato and lettuce were the selling points of this menu item. McDonald's grill master Ken Fortin says that the magic really was in the temperature. They wanted the bottom bun and the burger to be warm, but the top bun, the lettuce, and the tomato to be cold. Who wants to eat hot lettuce after all? The packaging of the sandwich thus played an integral role. A two-part container had one side housing the warm elements and the other side housing the cold ones. The consumer would then put the two together. This item was, however, discontinued in 1998 because its styrofoam packaging was particularly bad for the environment. If you were a kid in the 80s, there's no way you'll forget this next one. Imagine you invite your now old friends around to enjoy the pudding pops with you. Won't it feel like you're back in the 80s again? When General Foods began producing their Jell-O pudding pops in the 70s, they had no idea how successful their little idea would be. They had first originated in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, but it was not until the 80s that they peaked, especially after the Bill Cosby commercials. The one thing that can make a sweet treat even sweeter is freezing it, so it wasn't a shock to see their popularity spread like wildfire. Jell-O pudding was a pudding popsicle that was creamy and sweet and chocolatey, and was a huge hit among Americans back then, especially among kids who wanted to have a pudding popsicle just about everywhere and anywhere. In their first year, General Foods sold $100 million worth from sales of this sweet, and in 5 years, we're already making $300 million annually from the sale of Jell-O pudding pops. So it was quite confusing when they discontinued the product in the 90s. Well, it was mainly a production issue. General Foods wasn't a manufacturer of frozen foods. They just hit on this idea of frozen sweet pudding. And now it was becoming too hard for them to keep producing and storing this ice treat. So in 2004, they gave the license to Popsicle, who tried to revive the idea of frozen pudding. But maybe it was the name change or the fact that the new popsicles lacked that X factor that Jell-O pudding used to have. They just didn't sell. And by 2011, they were discontinued completely. Our next treat also holds a similar fondness in the hearts of the 80s kids. Ecto Cooler was the ultimate drink for kids who loved Ghostbusters and all things green. Who else remembers the thrill of cracking open a box of Ecto Cooler and feeling like a real-life Ghostbuster? And who could forget the iconic green color that stained our tongues and teeth? Ecto Cooler was introduced by High C in 1987 as a tie-in with the Ghostbusters franchise. The drink was originally intended to be a limited edition release, but it became so popular that it remained on shelves for several years. Ecto Cooler was known for its bright green color, which was achieved using a combination of food dyes. So what made the Ecto Cooler so special for you? Was it the tie-in with the Ghostbusters franchise, the unique green color, or was it the sheer fun of drinking a beverage that felt like a special treat? For many of us, Ecto Cooler brings to mind memories of childhood birthday parties, summer vacations, and happy times with family and friends. The next one is for the 80s kids who loved creating their mini-meals. Lunchables was designed in 1985 by Bob Drain as a way for Oscar Mayer to sell more bologna and other lunch meat. Drain talked to groups of American mothers and found out that their biggest worry was not having enough time. Many moms, especially those who worked, struggled to find time to make breakfast for their families and pack lunches for their kids to take to school. This gave Drain the idea of creating a convenient pre-packaged lunch featuring Oscar Mayer's trademark lunch meats. Lunchables offers 30 different kinds of meal variety combinations, which include crackers, pizzas, chicken nuggets, small hot dogs, small burgers, nachos, subs, and wraps. A typical package, such as the cracker meal combination, contains an equal number of crackers and small slices of meat and cheese. Lunchables also carries an assortment of drinks and desserts. In certain meal combinations, Capri Sun Juice drinks are offered, either in a traditional flavor or the Roarin' Waters variant. Other drinks included are bottled water and a generic, unlabeled small can of cola. However, it was later replaced with Capri Sun drinks due to health concerns. As for dessert, some packages contain Jell-O gelatin, or pudding, or a candy alternative, such as Butterfingers or Reese's Cups. Other desserts also include Oreos, chocolate chip cookies, and vanilla cookies. Lunchables were more than just a convenient meal. They were a staple of our childhood routines. We'd take them to school, on field trips, and even on family vacations. Talking about iconic, this next food was such a staple that it still lingers on in people's memories nowadays. Those who had difficulty getting out of bed in time for breakfast before having to run out the door might fondly remember Carnation's breakfast bars. The chocolate-covered granola bars were packed with protein and fortified with other nutrients. The bars were officially brought to market in the mid-70s, becoming more popular in the 1980s and into the early 90s, before being discontinued. Though eating on the go has become all too commonplace, in the 80s it was a relatively new trend. Carnation was also known for its nutrient-dense shakes, often touted as a meal replacement for dieters of that time. There was an attempt to relaunch the breakfast bars twice. The first was in the mid-90s, but with so much more competition now on the market, the product never saw enough results to keep it a viable market option. Carnation tried a relaunch again in 2014, but according to reviews, the flavors just didn't hit like nostalgia did. Moving on, let's talk about Teddy Grahams, the perfect snack for kids who love bears and honey. Who else remembers the thrill of opening a box of Teddy Grahams and finding those adorable little bear-shaped crackers? Teddy Grahams are bear-shaped graham cracker snacks introduced by Nabisco in 1988. They come in two distinct shapes: bears with arms up and legs closed, and bears with legs open and arms down. When first introduced, Teddy Grahams were available in honey, cinnamon, and chocolate flavors. Since then, they have added chocolate chips as one of the 4 main varieties. They also had vanilla, banana, birthday cake, mixed berry, strawberry banana, and apple flavors, but they have been discontinued. Nabisco has also put out various other products under the Teddy Grahams brand, including various Disney character-shaped grahams. Teddy Grahams sold more than $150 million worth in its first year. Despite making huge sales, it was disappointing that they had to discontinue the product. Why would they suddenly stop making something Americans loved and were ready to pay good money for? There's no way any kid who lived in the 80s will forget this next one. Planters, a well-known snack food company, introduced the cheese balls. Planters cheese balls has to be one of every 80s kid's favorites. Those perfectly round, cheesy, and crunchy puffs are placed in a bright blue canister. The first thing that captures your heart once you open the can has to be its bright orange color. The vibrant hue seems to jump off the metal can, grabbing your attention, and your stomach instantly craves it. It's an instant temptation that says, "Eat me." They are so salty and so cheesy, and a single serving of cheese balls is 37 balls. And do you remember the aftertaste? These balls get a little stuck to your teeth, causing a little damage to the roof of your mouth if you don't crunch right away. But overall, they're satisfying. The product was discontinued in 1990, but in 2018, they made a return and still exist today. They are greatly missed because of their unique texture and flavor that no other cheesy snack could replicate. In 2018, they replaced the lid with a paper seal instead of an aluminum lid. Our next snack was also a standout in the 80s. Magic Middles. When Magic Middles disappeared from grocery stores without a trace, fans were overly disappointed. Why would Keebler stop producing one of its most beloved products? Keebler Magic Middles were sweet shortbread cookies with a fudge or peanut butter filling. Although it was the go-to snack for several kids, they quietly discontinued the original and peanut butter so they could use the equipment that produced them for another line. They have no plans to return them, but fans still await its return. Magic Middle was delicious, right? Wait till you see this next one. Though most of us have never heard of Sizzlin', it was a household name during the 70s and 80s, which turned up on many household breakfast tables. Sizzlin' was marketed as a healthier alternative to bacon, meaning that it had less fat than the pork belly alternative, with a reported jerky-like texture. Sizzlin' was a special kind of bacon-like food that was made with a mix of turkey, pork, and beef. This combination made it lower in fat. When you cooked it, it didn't shrink as much as regular bacon. Later, an all-beef version was introduced, but surprisingly, it still contained some turkey. The company made sure to advertise that Sizzlin' was made with real meat, with no added soy or other fillers. The product, produced by Swift & Co., sold widely throughout the 80s and 90s, but once the low-fat era began to die out, so too did Sizzlin'. The product was officially discontinued in 2005. Last on our list is the Bonkers candy. Nabisco introduced a soft, chewy, rectangular, sweet candy with a fruity center in the 80s, and they named it Bonkers. More than their flavor, they might have been remembered for their commercials, containing perilous, giant falling fruit that would bonk you out. Their soft texture and chunky size, similar to the gum Hubba Bubba, made them extra satisfying to chomp down on, only to be rewarded with a separate burst of fruit. Bonkers came in various flavors, including grape, watermelon, cherry, orange, and not-so-fruity chocolate. The candy was sold in individually flavored packets, each candy wrapped separately. Once the commercials stopped, candy sales began to drop, making it a product that needed constant marketing to succeed. By the late 90s, Bonkers candy had disappeared from stores, leaving fans disappointed. Leaf Brands attempted to bring this nostalgic candy back for a short but sweet reunion tour during the summer of 2018. After one last burst of fruity flavor, the brand has since disappeared, remaining only in memories and commercials. What was your favorite snack when you were little? Tell us in the comments below.